from the Xfinity Studios at WVON. We're your original social media. You're listening to Inspirational Perspective with Linal Harris on 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
About it. Come on, let's talk about it. Change up the things you see. Open your mind to possibility. Find your power, passion, and purpose. You know it's time for you to walk in greatness. Let's murder mediocrity. Play your goals, live out your dreams. Now, inspirational perspective. Open your mind to a better life. It's time to live a dream. Let's slay your goals, let your greatness flow with inspirational perspective.
Good morning, Chicago. You're listening to Inspirational Perspective. I'm your host, Linal Harris, your very own life coach right here on WVON 1690 AM, The Talk of Chicago. Inspirational Perspective on your radio is all about murdering mediocrity and living the best life possible. So as I ask you every Sunday morning, are you living the best life possible? And this is the place to be to explore that opportunity. Well, good Sunday morning, everyone. May 2nd, 5th month of 2021, and time is just flying. I got a great topic for you today and a wonderful guest. Got my good friend, Attorney Ernest Fenton in the house. Welcome, brother. How are you?
Good morning. Can I shout out to Bebe, shout out to Lawanda, shout out to Cantrell, shout out to Lil Tracy and Duty. Good morning. How are you? I had to give some shout outs.
Are they awake this early on Sunday?
Yeah. They were up last night. I don't think they went to bed yet.
Oh, okay. So they still. So they're laying down listening to the show.
Yeah.
Man, so we got a great topic, Attorney Fenton, and we're going to be discussing, well, money, but money in a different way. Money in the law. I guess we could say that.
Yes.
We'll be discussing the financial roadmap that many of us should be using or trying to use as we build our wealth. And so I really want to just jump right into it, if I may. Because I want to utilize the time as best we can. So here's what we're going to talk about for those who are listening. First and foremost, why? Like, why does this conversation matter? Why does using the law to protect our money, using the law to, in many ways, protect us in life, maybe even protect those that we love in death, why does it matter so much? Mm-hmm. And not just matter on a base level, but why does it matter more than ever in our community?
Right.
Let's start there.
Good question. Well, check this out. Oftentimes in the news and in our communities, there's a, rightfully so as well, there's a large, a bit of attention or preoccupation with our rights from a criminal standpoint.
Yeah.
So we're real adept and conscious of what our rights are in ways they have been infringed, mm-hmm. and how we may be left out, mm-hmm. right? Tertiary citizens, if you will, from a criminal standpoint, but we don't talk about it as much from a civil standpoint.
Got you.
Right?
Got you.
Well, other than like, okay, redlining, housing, can I buy?
Right.
But I'm like, there are other laws.
And there are only a few of us in that conversation.
Yeah, and there are only a few of us in that conversation. But I'm like, there are other parts or aspects of America that we need more participation in. And so like a lot of people who are listening online and so forth, you've heard me talk about trusts. Now there's, well, you know what? One good thing is this. A lot of people now are talking about, oh, yeah. They start getting sexy. They like they was last night or Saturday night. They start getting sexy when they start talking about LLCs. They were like, oh, yeah. I just set up my LLC. Which you're on the right pathway. At least you're thinking about it. It's a start. So I'm like, there's some benefits to America if you know how to position yourself to take advantage of those benefits, right? So now you working to make certain that, the cops don't pull you over, arrest your son. Great, fantastic. That's one component. Then we're fighting, hey, let me get a job. Let me participate in the stock market. Don't infringe my ability to open a business. That's another component. And these are all the things that will create opportunity for you to access, let's say, wealth or money. But see, here's another level, and this is the level that we have yet to graduate to. The next level is, well, all this new stuff that you have acquired or that you have access to, how do you keep it? How do you keep it, and then how do you pass that down to your children?
Now let me say this, because when you say how do you keep it, then somebody's probably going to say, who gonna take it? It's mine. Who gonna take it?
Oh, the government is going to take it. The nursing home is going to take it. Those medical debts or bills are going to take it. The ignorance of your children and your children's children are going to take it.
What about if I make a mistake and the person I make the mistake with, like, I ran hard into the back of this person.
That accident is going to take it.
Okay.
Life is going to take it.
Life is going to take it.
For sure.
If it's not protected.
If it's not protected.
Okay.
For sure.
So here we are in this conversation, and we realize that the assets we have, the money we worked so hard for, what I've been doing all my life to get ahead, is now at risk, Attorney Fenton. What are you talking about, Attorney Fenton? It's not even 7:30 yet on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You already got my blood pressure high.
I know, right?
Attorney Fenton.
I hate it.
So now you're telling me that everything I work for, someone can take from me if I happen to look down at my phone and run into the back of them?
Absolutely. Let me clarify. Let me take it one more step.
Okay.
And let me flip this around. Let me take it one more step. It's just like the gym. What is it? Like 20% is, the work that you do in the gym, and 80% is your diet.
Yeah.
Same with money. I think it's like, maybe if I had to come up with a calculus or a formula, I would say 40% is like you getting the money. 60% is you keeping the money.
Yeah, I like that.
No, I would say it's 30% getting the money.
So 30% getting the money.
And it's 70% can you keep the money.
Got you. And I agree. We might even knock it to 80.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because a lot of people don't realize how much money they lose in taxes.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Right. And so let me add one more element to that. Then the other element to that is this. Okay, what are the components of keeping the money? Well, we talked about a few, like one, a car accident. Let me tell you, bankruptcy, most people file bankruptcy as a result of medical debt. Good news, bad news. Good news is we're living longer, baby boomers. Good news, your parents are 70, 80, 90 years of age. My oldest client is 102. Good news. Bad news is we're living longer with degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. Bad news is that, good news is that they're building nursing homes. Bad news is that they're going to be filled. Good news is that there are hospitals everywhere. Bad news is that they're going to be up to capacity with old people, and you're going to run up a lot of debt. And then when your parents pass on, they're going to be looking for some remuneration for that debt that your parents racked up or that you racked up.
Right.
And so all right, if they don't catch you while you living, they're going to catch you while you dying. And so you have to be prepared to protect your assets, right? So
let's make this a bit more real, because we're having the conversation, but I know our community is a community that's based in stories.
Right.
And sometimes we need a narrative or a story to really make it real for us.
Right.
So I know you have stories, like real things, like real narratives that have happened, that you've seen happen to people who didn't plan properly.
Happening.
Happening.
I'm in the middle of it, or they are in the middle of it, and I'm in the middle of it with them. I'll give you one small example.
Okay.
Small example is that, unfortunately, Mama passed, was the mother or father. Let's say Mama passed, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Good news is that Mama did pretty well for herself, and she had a home.
Okay.
And the home has considerable equity, like about $150,000. Bad news is that Mama didn't have a trust. The house wasn't protected. So we find ourselves in probate, right? Only one child.
So slow down. The home had $150,000.
Yes, got about $150,000 in equity. Yes.
And it didn't have a trust.
No.
Why does that matter? Why does that? Because I mean, Attorney Fenton, it's my mama's house. I mean, I should be able to get it.
And I'm the only child. It's just going to come to me. What's
the big deal?
I'm about to tell you. The story is going to tell you why it's a big deal.
Okay.
It's a big deal because when Mama passed, good news is there's $150,000 in this house. Now we find ourselves in probate. Okay. Well, when you go to probate in Illinois, as one example, and I'm certain it's not.
So hold on. Why are we in probate? This is my mama's house.
Good question. You're in probate because any asset that remains in the name of a person who passes on, in order for you to inherit that asset, like, you must go through probate. Unless, as an example, and if we keep with the example of the house, unless the house is placed in a trust, unless the house were in some type of corporation that can be passed on to someone after the primary person or beneficiary, if you will, passes on. If it's in a trust, if it's in a corporation, those private documents can communicate or articulate who that asset is passed on to.
All right, so hold on. Lesson number one, those listening. Lesson number one. Just because
it's your mama,
that's your mama or your daddy, don't mean you just gonna get it when they pass away.
Let me take it one step up.
All right.
Just because it's your husband or your wife, it doesn't mean you're going to get that property either. Not without going to court.
Not without
going to court.
Even if it's my wife.
Even if it's your wife. If that house is in your husband's name and he passes on and he has a child from another relationship, guess what? Ooh. You and that child are going to be in court talking about who gets which bedroom. You all got that?
All right, so already I understand why we should be listening. Please continue. Please continue.
So anyhow, Mama Pat, they're like, how is he up this early with all that energy after he acted a fool last night? I acted a fool last night.
It's all right. We gotta live.
Okay.
We gotta live.
So Mama passes on. We find ourselves in probate, right?
Okay.
Again, if the house were in a trust, if it were in a corporation, then the trust or the corp could have transferred the house to her only daughter. Does not matter that she's the only child. Does not matter. We all know that the property is going to go to her. Actually, she wasn't the only child. It was another child. But anyhow. So we find ourselves in probate. And so the daughter wanted to keep the house and then give the house to her daughter. So she wanted her daughter to have the house. In fact, she took the initiative to rehab the house before we even went to probate. So the daughter spent $50,000, $60,000 rehabbing the house. There was a mortgage. Let's just say there's a mortgage of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. The daughter put another $50,000, $60,000 into the house because she wants her daughter to live there. She's probably listening. I'm sorry. They don't know who you are. Because she wants her daughter to live there. So we're on our way through probate. We think it's going to be a smooth transition. Then lo and behold, guess what happens?
Taxes.
Creditors show up.
Okay.
Medical bills, and I didn't know that the mother had been in a nursing home for about the last 6 months of her life, and so they have like a $60,000 or $70,000 claim.
I gotta close my mouth.
They have a $70,000 claim against the property.
Close my mouth. My mouth was wide open for a second.
You follow? Now, fortunately, there's enough money in the property, like it's valued enough. But imagine if the property didn't have that value. Imagine if the property only had $40,000, $50,000 in equity. The daughter wouldn't get anything. She'd have to sell the house. Well, she'd sell it to her daughter or give it to her daughter, but they'd have to refinance it to pay these creditors.
Right. Because they want their money.
Because they want their money. So I call that you got caught holding. You got caught holding.
And they had to pay you.
And they have to pay me.
And they have to pay you.
And time and energy and back and forth.
Now let me ask you this. Would it have been more financially, financially prudent is the right word for them to have set up a trust with you?
I mean, they're at least $60,000 down. Because the creditor showed up and then here I am.
Oh, so hold on. Let's talk about this. If it were in a trust, could the creditor pull on the building, on the property?
They could, but here's the deal. They most likely would not have. Because when you go into probate, you have to send out notification to creditors.
So they can smell that. Ooh,
they can smell probate.
Money's in the air.
There you go.
Wow.
Are you following? Now, if you're in trust, so here's the deal. When you go to probate, there's a 6-month creditor claims period. So for the first 6 months that the estate is open, creditors have an opportunity to come in and make a claim. If you are aware of any creditors, you have an obligation to provide them notice. Most people are not aware of creditors.
Right.
So
nor do I want to.
Don't open the mail. Close your eyes.
Yeah.
I see no evil. I see no evil. Hear no evil. Speak no evil. So they're not aware of creditors, but creditors have teams. They're checking. So, if anything's out there, if your name pops, then here you go. And then you must provide a notice. So creditors are most likely to show up in probate.
Got you.
Yes.
So probate is kind of like sound the alarm.
Yes, it is.
Which means I don't want to be in probate anywhere.
No.
Got you.
And anyone can come in and make a claim.
And the only way, the best ways to avoid probate is to have a trust.
Have trust. And then if you have like accounts that have beneficiary designations, make certain that you have your beneficiary designations. Gotcha. On a bank account, an IRA, a portfolio, an investment account, right? Make sure you have your beneficiary designations.
All right, lesson number 2. Make sure your beneficiary designations are up to date.
Correct.
Lesson number 2.
Yeah, keep your beneficiary designations. But here's the thing about beneficiary designations and why that's not good enough. Because I got another client, similar situation. Matter of fact, a young man. Who is this one? I'll give a general example. Son. Here's another one. Son listed his mother as the beneficiary on his account. He has a job. He listed his mother as the beneficiary. Oh well, here's what happens. Mom passes, right? 2 months later, son passes. So son never had an opportunity to update his beneficiary designation. How many husbands and wives who've been married for 50 years? They have, of course, husband's going to have wife as beneficiary, wife's going to have husband. Right. But what happens when husband passes or wife passes? Who's thinking about, I need to go to the bank and update my beneficiary designation because my wife just passed?
No, you're not thinking about that for the first
year, 2, 3.
I mean, yeah, you're just
at least a year or 2.
You're just trying to heal from the grief.
Correct. So the beneficiary. So then, if a person is listed as beneficiary on one of your accounts and they predecease you, then you still end up in probate. So I get many clients. They're coming to my office. We have to go through probate because there's one bank account, with. Well, it would typically have to be over $100,000 as an example. It could have $120,000 in this account, the savings account, and there's no living beneficiary. So we end up in probate.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Is there a way to put, there is a way, right, to put certain accounts into a trust?
Yeah, you can put everything into a trust.
There we go. So then I don't have to worry about if something unfortunate happened to anyone in my family that I wanted to be a beneficiary. Correct. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
No, not if the trust is written proper. So as an example, how does the trust resolve this? So I say to people, never ever. It's not never. I'm just saying generally never have someone listed as beneficiary on your accounts. Not your major accounts. Never. Why? Because what if something happens to that person?
So it should be the trust.
So it should be the trust. The trust should be the beneficiary of all your accounts.
Okay, lesson number 3. And so, Pam, we got a little work to do. Because I don't think our trust is listed
as the beneficiary.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm learning as we go.
Yeah.
And so, lesson number 3, if you have a trust, the trust should be listed as the beneficiary
of all your accounts,
on all
everything, your insurance account, your IRA, your 401, your stock portfolio, your Bitcoin. Hold on, your Bitcoin. Let me tell you this one. Everything.
Okay.
Digital assets is the next big thing.
Yeah, it is.
I've been researching that.
Yeah,
what happens? What happens? Okay, we'll come back to that. But let me just tell you this. Here's why I trust. Because the trust gives you a contingency plan. So you say, okay, something happens to me, whatever money I have in my checking account, my savings account, my 401k, the stock portfolio, all of the beneficiary for all of those accounts is my trust. So it gives a person one place to go. Yeah. One place to go to make a change. So if your spouse predeceases you, all you have to do is call me, and in 20 minutes, I could update your designation.
Boom.
But let's just say you never do that. You have listed in your trust, something happens to me, everything goes to my spouse. So all those accounts are already connected to the trust. No problem, right? Something happens to the spouse, it'll be written in the trust. Well, if my spouse predeceases me, what I was giving to my spouse, I'd like to split between my parents and my siblings. However, the money that I'm leaving for my mother, I don't want her to have her 20% share in one lump sum because she's 75. I want my mother to receive $10,000 in initial distribution, and then I want to dribble out to her $1,000 a month. And if my mother passes prior to depleting what the share that I've left for her, I want that share to be split amongst my surviving siblings.
There we go.
So there's always, and then if one of my siblings shall pass or predecease me, the share that would have gone to my siblings shall go to their children. However, if it makes it down to their children, I don't want them to receive the money in one shot. I want them to receive the money over a 5-year period on the condition and stipulation that.
So now, with the trust,
everything's covered.
And I have complete control.
And you have complete control. You follow?
I follow. And I learned something very important. Okay. So we already got 3 hardcore lessons, you all. I mean, we ain't even, 30 minutes, 40 minutes into the show? Mm-hmm. All right. I just want to really solidify why they should listen to what we have to say going into the next hour.
Right.
And so let's just play out one more scenario.
Right.
Maybe it's a little different. I don't know if you have one, kind of in the
the
mental Rolodex.
One more scenario. Oh, okay. I'll give you another. Oh Lord, I know he's listening. What's up? Shout out to Pookie. Shout out to Ray Ray. Shout out to Lil Man. I'm sorry. So anyhow, I told Linal I was going to act up today. So check this out. This is a good one. I know he's listening right now. He doesn't mind me sharing. He's laughing at me.
If it helps somebody, hopefully.
He's married, 20-something years. Okay. Right? Wife has children of one son prior to their marriage, their union. They don't have any children together.
Okay.
They build together. They purchase real estate together. Like a lot of people do. And the advice that I give people, if you can help it, like don't purchase property in the name of both you and your husband or you and your wife. If one person can be on the mortgage, only put one person on the mortgage. Yeah, people, I say that. What's the point of locking up 2 people's credit on one house when one person can afford it?
I recently called you about that.
Yes.
Yep.
But here's the deal. If you have to do it, great. But if you don't do it. But once you purchase that house...
Hold on. Back up. If you have to do it...
Then great.
Meaning, in order for us to get this home...
Yeah.
Both my wife and I have to have our name on this piece of property.
Then
our
fine.
Credit, our overall the money that we bring in.
Correct.
But if you don't... What I hear you saying is if you do not have to...
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Why? I mean, because...
Let me tell you this, and hopefully I remember my thought.
How do I know... Like if something happens in our marriage, Attorney Fenton, or, what if we separate, Attorney Fenton?
Lord.
How should I be thinking about this? I want my own.
Contemporaneously. You didn't know I could go from Lil Pookie to contemporaneously, but I just did it. So when you're sitting at the closing table with me, or before we even get to the closing table, we're going to already have the trust drawn up.
Got you.
So when you close on that house
for a piece of property
in your husband's name, we already drew up the paperwork to transfer that house into the trust that says it's both your property.
Okay, so if a trust is in place, it doesn't matter whose name is on the property.
It does not matter whose name is on the mortgage.
On the mortgage, gotcha.
You could put John the cat's name on the mortgage. But if that deed says something different, then that's what the deed shows who the owner is. The mortgage just says who owes the money.
Gotcha.
So I don't want two people owing the money, because if something happens in your family and there's a foreclosure or something like that, why should both of your credits go down the drain? Or if we need to use your debt to if we don't want to mess up your debt to income ratio, what if there's an investment opportunity that comes along, but they look at both of your debt to income ratio, and that house that you purchased with both of your names on it is dragging down your debt to income ratio? So we want to keep you open, so if an opportunity presents itself, one,
boom,
you can take advantage of the opportunity, and two, if something happens and you have a financial setback in your family, both of you don't go down. Why should both of you go down with the sinking ship?
Love it. So then the trust is on the deed.
Yes.
Got you.
And then the trust says it's both of our house.
Got you.
And that's the only thing that matters. Mortgage doesn't matter.
Okay, lesson number 4. Lesson number 4 to married folk. And we probably should break this down a little bit for singles.
Yeah, and Shaq and folk. I saw Jerome in your driveway. I know what you've been doing with Richard for 15 years.
Right, you want to leave Richard something, put it in the trust.
Yeah.
Got you.
You've been messing around with that man for 15 years. You better put your name on something.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So married couples, this is important because this in many ways allows them to think strategically about their financial structures.
Correct. See, we think emotionally. We think we're like
say that one more time.
We think and act emotionally, even in our marriage. Married folk don't like to have this conversation, but we're about to have it, Linal. You step out of this one, Linal. I'll take over for 1 minute. Let me take over for 1 minute. Married folk act like they don't be laying in bed like, what if I just decide to leave this chick right here? You know, I know my wife has to look at me every now and again like, you know what?
Every married person has thought about leaving their spouse. I can say that.
I know my wife who looks at me like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to make it with this dude. I don't know if I'm going to make it with this dude. Then she's got to think to herself, well, if I don't, what happens to me? Are you following?
Right.
So oftentimes we're acting out of the emotion, and we're acting from a place of lack. Especially as black and brown people, because we come from a place of lack in America. So we take that same mentality into our relationship. So what we do from a financial, economic, investment standpoint is, first and foremost, we're in protection mode as opposed to build mode. We're into just like survive mode.
So I'm gonna protect myself.
Yeah, I'm protecting myself.
In worst case scenario,
correct.
I got to survive.
Correct. So you know what the woman says? Oh no, put my name on that mortgage. I'm going on that mortgage too. Because she's thinking to herself, if we get a divorce, I don't want him putting me out my house. And there begins mode. That's our downfall.
Yep. Because now if we get hit by some economic,
both of us have bad credit.
Wow. And now we can't build.
Both of us. You know what made me happy is during the 2009, 2010, when all the foreclosures were happening, when I had a client who came into my office, and one of the first questions that I would ask while they were in foreclosures, like, whose name is on the mortgage? And then they'd be like, well, just my husband's name is on the mortgage. And I'd be like, great. How is your credit, ma'am? She'd say, oh, I have a 650 credit score. Great. Do you have a job? Yes, I do. No problem. So let's wait this foreclosure out for the next year. I'm going to keep you in your house for 1 year. I want you to save your money, okay? I want you to put all the money in the wife's bank account, right? I want you to pay the minimums on the husband's bills. I want you to pay all your wife's debts down, and then in 1 year, we're going to buy another house in your wife's name. We're going to bankrupt you. We're going to file you a Chapter 7 on you, and we're going to go like nothing happened, and you're going to get a better house than the house that you're in right now.
Boom, because the wife's credit score just jumped up to 780.
Correct. And she has money, and we paid down her debt. Are you following?
Gotcha.
So we got to think strategically, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, well, and this is why married folks can build better and faster.
Correct.
If
you work together.
We work together.
Correct. Me and my wife, we work like champions.
Hey, and by the way, for the single man out there who like you like, I don't know if I want to get married.
Please.
You losing out.
You better get you a woman with a good government job.
And benefits.
It's the benefits. You better shut your mouth.
Come home every night and be faithful. Get this money.
For sure. So you get that boat. You want that boat, or you want to go to that club? You tell me.
Speaking of which, a lot of single men, you will never hit the financial plateaus that you can hit because being single is expensive.
It's expensive, man.
It's expensive,
and it's hard doing it alone.
It is. It's nice to have somebody who's got your back.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Little shout out to marriage. Okay. So we got a call. Maybe we'll jump to that in a second here. 2 reasons why this show matters. And we got 4 lessons out of just the why. We haven't even got into the real teaching yet.
Right.
So just to kind of set the stage, you all, some of the things that we're going to be talking about is, so now how do we keep our money? By understanding and knowing the law, leveraging someone like Attorney Fenton. By the way, how can they contact you? Somebody's already like, okay, I got to call him.
AttorneyErnestFenton.com. Go to my website, send a message.
And then we're going to talk about how to pass down not just assets, but good habits.
Yeah, most important.
Good habits. And by the way, that can be done in many ways through the trust.
Absolutely.
Well. We're going to talk about that in the next hour.
Yeah.
Let's take this phone call real quick. Let's go to line 1. Robert, good morning. How are you?
Okay.
Hey, Linal. Hey, attorney. We miss you in the morning.
Oh, thank you. Good morning.
But I wanted to ask now, if a person passes away and he has 1 son, but his house just started to, go in arrears and taxes, and it's still redeemable. Does the son have the right to pay the taxes and get the house, or does it need to be in the trust?
Yeah, the son would have the right to pay the taxes, even though the property is still in the deceased father's name. Because from a tax standpoint, a property tax standpoint, anyone who has an interest in property has a right to pay your property taxes. So even a spouse who's not on the mortgage or the deed can pay the property taxes, right? As an heir to the estate of his father, he has an interest in the property. But in order to take ownership of the property, despite the fact that you paid the taxes, he paid the taxes, he still have to go through probate. All right?
Wow.
But he can't pay the taxes, so don't sit back and not pay the taxes. But don't pay the taxes if he's not committed to getting the property, because otherwise he's just throwing money away, and they're not going to give him his money back. There's no such thing as I pay the taxes on this property because my father died, but now I don't want the property, so give me my money back. No, money's gone.
That's gone.
Okay?
Oh.
All right, tell them to just check me out at my office, AttorneyErnestFenton.com. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
All right, so Attorney Fenton, I'm looking at a few people in my feed who are out of state.
Right.
Now, do you support clients out of state?
I'm all over the world. I'm international.
Right,
Hold on, if I could sing, I would hit that international lawyer. I'm an international lawyer, Linal.
And this is what happens when you don't get a lot of sleep. I love it. All right, look. So now let's move to this conversation of keeping what we have as best as we can, because in our community we don't have much. So let's be clear. I think folks think they got stuff.
Relative. We're 1 paycheck away.
We don't have much.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
we had much.
We did have.
No.
We had.
We had much.
We had much.
You follow? So like today we have it, but tomorrow we won't.
Oh, we had much. I got where you're going.
Because
I was thinking all the way back to like.
No, I mean like every day. We get it and we lose it every day.
Break that down.
What does it say? The dollar circulates in the black community, what, 6 hours, 12?
6 hours.
6 hours.
6 hours.
So we had it for 6 hours, but then the other 18, what was that, 18, 19, 20? Yep, the other 18 hours we didn't.
So you heard the show with Lauren Williams.
Yes, great.
She said the biggest mistake we make is we don't save enough.
Yeah.
The biggest financial, like I asked her, what's the biggest financial mistake that you've seen clients make across the board? And she was like, we don't save enough.
Yeah. And we're not saving. I mean, I hate to go here, but like we're not saving because it's hard to save when you're by yourself. And like my wife is on a girls trips, and like I was eating all type of stuff last night. I haven't had ice cream in 3 weeks, but last night I had cookies.
Oh, it goes out the window when the wife is gone.
You follow what I'm trying to say? So here's the thing.
It's another reason for partnership.
It's comfort food.
Yeah, it is.
When you eat
out the window.
So you eat yourself to sleep because the wife's not there, and the wife drinks herself with wine.
And you stay up later.
That's why I was up late last night acting the fool. Y'all should know my wife ain't home when I'm acting the fool. You should know, like, Marissa must not be there because he's on Facebook.
It was late.
Yeah. You get my point?
Yep.
And the same thing happens in finances. It's like 60-70% of our households, like, we're not in partnership. Like to that extent. Now we may be in partnership because there are people who are married who are not in partnership. Let's make that distinction. And then there are a lot of people who are just alone. They're not in marriage.
So describe partnership. What do you mean by
we're
partnership?
working together, we're strategizing. I had a friend prior to me being married, and I never understood. He'd be like, I loaned my wife $50 and she hasn't paid me back. And I'm like, huh? She needs to pay she pays utilities from her account. And I'm like, huh? And then I have to pay my bills. I'm like, huh? I don't think of money like that. Whatever money she has, it's in that damn pot. Her pension is my pension.
Exactly. So hold on, say that again.
Her pension is my pension. Whatever money I make is our money. I throw my cash on the table. If my wife needs some money, she just dips her hand in it.
Such a hard time. Oh, you talked about it, survival.
Yes.
Not enough context, and this whole idea that, man, lack. You call that lack.
We have to be in partnership. And just because you're married doesn't mean you're in partnership. And then to make it matters worse, we're not married. So we're not married.
Many of us aren't, right.
And then when we get married, we're still not in partnership. It's damn near impossible. It's damn near impossible in America, in a capitalistic system, in a consumer economy, to build anything and not be in partnership.
Yeah, you'll be in trouble.
Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins got together. Why the hell would Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins come together? Why would Subway decide to have little Subway outlets in gas stations?
Right.
Mega corporations get together, and we can't get together with one other person and be in partnership. How are you going to get rich?
That's a word right there.
Stop. Hold on. Let me do this one. Let me say this one. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Lesson number 5. Partnerships increase wealth. Especially when done right.
Linal, I'm about to drop this one on you right now. I didn't want to drop this one. This is an exclusive, only for Linal. I would only drop this on Linal's show. Here's for all the men out there. This is going to be in my book. Here's for all the brothers out there. Linal, you step out of this conversation right now. I don't want no problems, Pam. I don't want no problems. Linal, though. For all the men out there talking about, I don't want to lose half. You
already know my stance on this.
Yeah.
You already know my stance on this.
I don't want to lose half. Let me tell you what you do, sucker. Since you don't want to lose half. First off, I need you to know what your number is. What's your number? Yeah, I said it just like that. What's your number? Is your number $1 million? Is your number $2 million?
That's good. Half of what? Because most people don't even know what they got.
You get my point.
Yeah, half of what?
Yeah. No, they're thinking in the future. They're not worried about losing half of what they have.
Wait. Wait, I can't even process that.
Yeah.
How am I thinking about half of what I'm going to have?
No, that's how they're thinking because they don't have much now. They're thinking in the future.
Well, if you got married and you accumulated that with
they don't think like that.
Then she
they
deserves half.
They said he dribbled the ball. She doesn't get half. She didn't go to work with me.
Hey, it's proven that married NBA players play longer than single NBA players.
That's too complex of a thought. You way up there in the weeds right now, on the trees. Let me finish.
It's simple. It's simple.
You think you too smart.
It's simple.
You too smart.
It's simple. Giving your seed to one woman preserves your body, your chi.
Yeah, you called it.
Like, she gets half.
Okay.
The fact that she's making your meals when you come in, the fact that the ice bath is ready, the fact that you don't have to call the masseuse the next day.
He's like
she gets half.
No, that's too much. They're thinking in the future. That's a whole nother conversation. You and I on that. But let me share this. Most men are thinking in the future. They're not thinking about she gets half of what I have right now, because when they came into the marriage.
Don't marry a woman that don't bring nothing to the table.
That's another conversation.
Like, hey, when I married my wife, I wasn't worried about her taking half, because I married a woman that brings something to the table. She makes me better. If I messed up and Pam took half, she deserves it. I'm gonna be in the courthouse quiet.
You know what's so great about this conversation? I trigger Linal.
Yeah, you got me going. Like, these brothers gotta, man.
I trigger Linal, Pam. I triggered him.
But it's just, we gotta stop.
I know, we have to stop.
Half of what? You don't even know what you got.
But they're thinking in the future. Most men are not concerned about the half of what they already have, because they're coming in with maybe a house or a little condo, and they have like $20,000. Oh, you worried about her getting $10,000 and like the $15,000 or the $30,000?
You need to get married so you can build.
Okay. So they're thinking in the future, I'm going to make a lot of money, I'm going to be rich, and I don't want my wife to get half.
You ain't going to do it without her.
So here's my thing, Linal. What's your number? This is what I want men to sit back and think about. What's your number? How much money do you need to be comfortable alone? If you're like, if I had $1 million liquid and like 10 properties, I'd be good. If I have $5,000 a month positive cash flow and $1 million liquid, I'd be good. And see, that's what he's shooting for.
But here's the thing. He ain't going to live to see it. He ain't going to live to be with it, because married men live longer. I'm still going there.
But in his head, Linal, you already know. You already know.
He'll die of a heart attack.
In his head, he's going to accomplish that in 10 years. He's going to be a millionaire.
Brothers, we got to wake up.
He's going to be a millionaire in 10 years. And what he's concerned about is when he becomes a millionaire 10 years from now, and he has that $1 million and that $5,000 a month positive cash flow, his wife is going to divorce him, and he won't have the $1 million. He'll have $500,000. And he'll have $2,500 a month positive cash flow. But let me tell you the solution. You know what the solution is, brothers?
I'm going to let you say it.
No, you've already given some solutions. Here's the solution. If your number is $1 million and $5,000 a month positive cash flow, black man, when you get married, make your number $2 million and $10,000 a month positive cash flow. So if you get divorced, your half is going to equal or exceed your number.
Boom.
All you need to do is know your number and then double it.
And help her build it.
That's it.
Have her help you build it. All right, we got to go to break. We got to go to break. I see the phone calls. Michelle, Tyrone, Freddie. Freddie, you're up first. Then Michelle, Tyrone, Sonia. We'll take some phone calls. And then we're going to jump into, hey, we're going to end the show with how to get richer, how to make more money.
Money, money, money.
Using the law. You do not want to turn the dial. We'll be right back. You're listening to Inspirational Perspective. I'm your host, Linal Harris, joined by my guest, Attorney Fenton. We'll be right back. They
don't want to hear that. What are you talking about? She deserves half. What are you talking about? What are you saying?
All right. I don't know if you have any questions. Lisa Hobbs says, does these principles apply to single women?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say so too.
More so, yes. I mean, not more so, but absolutely. They apply to everyone, yeah. I mean, hell, you know what? That's a great question for on air. Can she hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
You know what? Let me tell you why it applies to single women. Because you're dating and he's your partner, or he's the closest thing to your partner. Yep. So like if you're dating or you have a boyfriend or girlfriend talking, like they're your partner. If they're not helping you build or grow within your household, then they're hurting you.
Yep.
Period. So they still apply. And that's the thing
There
that
you
kills
go.
me about people who are dating or in relationships. Oh, it doesn't matter because we're not married. Oh, it absolutely matters. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I got work to do. Because what I'm thinking about now, my siblings, my mom. So Pam and I, we got our stuff in order. There's a few things we need to do, like make sure the beneficiary is assigned to the trust.
Right.
So write that down, Pam. But then I'm like, man, okay, my siblings, everybody needs to get this handled.
Right.
Needs to get handled.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Because then hold on. You just hit on the larger point, which will come up. Hopefully I won't forget. And remind us this. And how are you feeling? But remind us. You hit on the larger point. Like you have your nucleus, and then you have your inner core, and then you have your outer core. Your
Right.
nucleus is like who's in the household with you. Your nucleus is like you, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your children. That's your nucleus. Then when you start looking out, who's on the next ring? My brother's on the next ring.
Right.
My cousin's on the next ring. My mother's on the next ring. So if something goes wrong in their life, how does that then impact my nucleus? If my brother goes down and he can't work, am I going to have to come up with some money for him?
Yep. Nephew, nieces.
So
all of
everybody
that.
needs to be. So
Well, and then the other thing, if
Yeah.
something happens to my brother and my nephew, and he has me down, like Pam and I down, to take care of my nephew.
right,
So now we have another mouth to feed,
right,
but his stuff is in probate.
right.
Like, what good does
Right.
that do us?
Right.
You get where I'm going?
Yeah.
So we got to think about this thing holistically. It's like, that's what hit me. Is like, oh man, okay, so Pam and I are handled,
Yeah.
but we need to make sure everybody else is
Around
handled.
you is handled. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's still an infusion there. Okay.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. Somebody asked, how much money do you need to be good single? As much money as you think you need. I don't know if you got an answer for that, but that's as much money as you think you need.
You have to know your number. Here's how
Yeah.
I break it down. I break it sort of systematic, right? And then I go out a bit more amorphous. So, like, first and foremost, what do you need to maintain your standard of living? Forget your standard of living, Linal. You know what I think about as a man? Because I still got some survivor in me. You
Right.
still, even when you're building, you still have to have some survivor in you.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the survivor in me says, what's my lowest point? How far down am I willing to go? How many steps am I willing to go backwards?
Right.
So I'll say this on air. I'll give you all this one. I'll say it. I know Linal. Linal knows how I am. I'll say it for you, Linal. Second one you got me on today. I've had a house or houses for 10 years, or the last 15 years that are paid for. So I always know if something goes wrong, I can go to one of my properties.
You got somewhere to go.
I have somewhere to go with no mortgage. Like, I can go all the way down. That's my lowest spot though.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I grow, my lower spots keep getting higher.
Got you.
You follow what I'm saying?
I got you.
So I have a fallback position. So the first question you have to ask yourself, what is your comfortable fallback position? My comfortable fallback position is in a house that I own with no mortgage in a nice neighborhood.
Got you.
You follow?
Mm-hmm.
Your fallback position may be in my mother's basement because she lives alone in a nice house.
Right.
And then how much money do you need to preserve your fallback position? So I know me and my wife, we could go to a house with no mortgage. We need $3,000-4,000 a month. Matter of fact, with $5,000 a month, you wouldn't even know our life changed. You still see us on vacation.
Right.
It wouldn't be in that same hotel, but we still make it to Jamaica.
Got you.
You follow? So one, what's your fallback position? How much money do you need for that? Make sure that's secure. That's step number one. Once you secure your fallback position, then secure where you are right now. See, some people are trying to secure where they are right now, and maybe where you are right now will not be sustainable practically. So secure your fallback position. Then secure where you are
right now.
Yeah. Because you don't want to put at risk where you are and your fallback position.
See, and I love that because it's thinking strategically about our finances in a way. Most of us are just looking forward of what I'm going to have.
No, I watch my back too.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And like one of the things I tell Pam all the time is
right.
This right here is our fallback. Like, it don't get any worse than where we are right now.
Correct.
And when I take you to the next level,
this
is where we're gonna be.
Right.
It won't get any worse than this.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to go here and then fall back. Go here and then.
Yeah.
This is it.
But you're not going to fall back. But in the back of your mind, you can be more comfortable where you are because you know, worst case scenario, your fallback position is where you are.
That's where I am.
Are you following what I'm saying? So then secure where you are. How much money do you need? 6 months, 12 months? Make sure you have that. And then you shoot for that other stuff.
Lesson 6 and 7, by the way, exclusive for the Facebook audience.
There you go.
You should just let that roll. We would have made it work.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
Very good, ma'am, Ms. Hawkins. That gave you an opportunity to work on that stuff we talked about.
Come on, let's talk about it. Change up the
Go
things
Gorilla.
you see. Open your mind to possibilities. Find your power, passion, and purpose. You know it's time for you to walk in greatness. Let's murder mediocrity. Play your goals, live out your dreams. Now, inspirational perspective. Open your mind to a better life. It's time to live the dream. Your purpose now. Inspirational perspective. Let's slay your goals, let your greatness flow with inspirational perspective.
All right, we're back. You're listening to Inspirational Perspective. I'm your host, Linal Harris, your very own life coach right here on WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago. In the studio with me this morning, I have Attorney Ernest B. Fenton.
Holla.
And we've been talking about how to create your financial roadmap. Let me tell you something. This is one of those shows, you missed the first hour, man. You missed a lot. You can go back, catch it on Facebook later, on YouTube next week. But you want to call the people that you say you love. Wake them up. Hey, get up. Turn on WVON. You cannot miss this. Like, just call them right now. You don't want to miss this. Attorney Fenton has already dropped 5 valuable lessons. For the Facebook audience, they got 6 and 7 exclusively. And now, I'm going to take some phone calls. But we're also going to end the show. We're talking about how to use the law. And not just how to use the law to protect what you have, but how to generate more. I don't know about you, but
Not done yet.
I could always use a little more cash.
Yeah. Me too.
Right. And I think everybody listening.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump to Freddie on line 3. Freddie, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. Good Attorney Fenton and Linal. Great topic.
What's up, sir?
You know, Attorney Fenton, you know a lot about asset protection. That's the key. And a lot of us don't know a lot about that. But when you start hanging around a lot of people that got a lot, you'll learn a lot. But 2 things I tell a man, 2 things you never want. A car problem and a woman problem. They can be very expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's all I got to say about that.
That's a good one. Thanks for that, Freddie.
That's a good one. I'm going to steal that, Freddie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right, let's go to Michelle. Michelle, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Linal Harris and Attorney B. Fenton.
Good morning.
I have a question for you, Attorney B. Fenton. Both my husband and I have trusts that were drawn up by you. We are getting ready to invest in some commercial property together. Now, each of us has a family from a previous marriage, and moving forward, when you say put the commercial property into a trust, do we put it in either trust that you already drew up? Or we create a new?
No, you don't have. You do not have to create another trust. You could potentially place them in either one of your trusts with language in there. I'm presuming your trusts are revocable, so you could change it. So, like, technically, from a technical legal standpoint, if you place the property in one of your trusts, the person whose trust it is in could wake up one morning and change it, and the other person wouldn't know. Are you following me?
Yes.
However, even if so, that's one. Or so if you trust one another, then you can go ahead and place it in one of your trusts and just roll it like that. However, If it's a commercial property, it shouldn't be in a trust. Per se.
What should we place it in?
Bam! It should be in some type of corporation like an LLC. And then the shares of the LLC can be split between the two of your trusts.
Now, do you set that up?
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Now.
I'm trying to find out because I don't want to have to seek out another way.
Oh, come on. Of course I do.
Okay.
Stop it.
Another question is, do you do closing for a commercial property?
Yeah, yes. Anything real estate, pretty much A to Z, I do. Only I can do. I do pretty much everything A to Z. Only thing I don't like doing are evictions. But everything else, this is right what I do. All right?
Okay, another question. My parents are like in their 80s, and my dad just got his payout from his life insurance policy. So I actually had this conversation with him last night to make sure when the money hits the account that he's having it transferred to, is to put a beneficiary on there. But after listening to you this morning, it sounds like he needs to draw up a trust himself.
He does.
Even though all my siblings get along.
Doesn't matter. Let me tell you why it doesn't matter that your siblings get along. Because what happens if one of your siblings become disabled and they're married and you don't get along with their spouse? What happens if one of your siblings passes on and they have a share, like a 1/5 share, and then you don't get along with their spouse or their children?
And I'll add this. Money makes people funny.
Yeah. And then it's like, why? Why even have the conversation? I don't want to have the conversation with my wife. I don't even want to have a conversation with my wife. Like, this is what it is, straight up front. I mean, I don't, for everybody.
And siblings will have enough to go through when a parent passes. You don't want them having to figure out how to split up assets.
Correct. But the biggest thing for siblings who get along, hello, wife, how are you? The biggest thing, I'm going to repeat it one more time. I don't care who you trust. I trust my wife. My wife trusts me. But it's not about how much she trusts me. Because if I go down, like, stuff needs to be in order. Because she doesn't want to be in a wrestling match with my mother or my brother. And why would I put her in that position?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. So I'll be reaching out to you.
Yeah, just send a message now through my website, and then someone will follow up probably Tuesday because Mondays are like crazy. But if you send it now, we'll at least get you an intake sheet Monday. I try to organize myself on Mondays. I try to get back to more people on Tuesdays. AttorneyErnestFenton.com.
Oh, I already know.
Okay. Say you spoke to me, we already did your trust, and you purchasing a commercial property. We need to set up an LLC. Let me ask you this question about that property.
We have it already. We have it.
Okay, right. Transferred it to the LLC, and then we'll split the shares of the LLC into both trusts. All right? That's the answer.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Have a great day.
All righty.
All right. That's a good call. All right, Tyrone. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Holla.
Yes, I'm kind of piggybacking on Michelle. I have 2 properties, one a rental and one I live in, and it's under one trust. I'm looking at taking out a home equity line of credit.
Mm-hmm.
Should I have had both of them in different trusts? Because I'm hearing that someone, a banker said I may have to take it out of the trust.
Right. Some lending institutions will not allow you to refinance a property while it's in trust. Why? Because the owner of the property is the trust, and they're not giving the loan to the trust. They're giving the loan to you. So because they don't really understand how trusts work in a lot of jurisdictions, and they don't want to redo their paperwork, it's coming. It's just not here yet. So most lenders, not all, because some lenders will allow you to refinance in a trust, but the majority will not. So that's a simple fix. All we'll do is transfer the property back into your name. You refinance. When you refinance, we'll put it back in the trust. To the question of should you have both properties in one trust? You can. Typically, I like to separate my investments from my primary. Don't what does it say, dogs? Don't go to the bathroom where you lay your head at. So like I like to keep, we can put the primary property into a trust, but I like to keep investment properties in a corporation and then have the trust own the court.
So why? Why is
Well,
that?
because if you have an investment property in a trust, and then if there's a lawsuit against that investment property, a little boy climbed on the roof, fell through the roof, and your insurance for whatever reason didn't cover it, they can sue the trust, the owner of the property. And everything within the trust is subject to that claim. But if we place it in an LLC, they're suing the LLC and the trust owns it. So they can only go after the assets in the LLC. So you don't want your trust to own your investment properties necessarily unless the trust is acting like an LLC. So don't put your house in the same trust as your investments. All right.
Thank you. So
give me a holler.
So at this time, I should just move it into an LLC until I reinvest it.
Now, if you're going to do it like in the next 6 months to a year, it's a low risk, then keep it there. And it depends on the type of property. Give me a call. Just send me a message. AttorneyErnestFenton.com. All right.
Yes,
it depends. It depends, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good call, Tara. Let me say this. People, in order for us to make money and keep money,
you gotta know this stuff.
And you gotta spend some money.
Gotta spend some money.
Because I know right now people are thinking like, oh man, so now I gotta pay Attorney Fenton a little of my cash so he can work this out. Man, let me just say this. One of the biggest mistakes we make.
Cheap.
We cheap on the wrong stuff.
Wrong stuff.
Spend money. Like, hey, instead of going to the mall and buying a Louis bag, I know my Slayer Goals member is going to be cracking up because Thursday night I was going in about Louis bags and Gucci shoes.
I brought my wife a Louis Vuitton.
It's a little different, Attorney Fenton.
Go ahead.
I'm talking to people that can't afford it. Okay?
All right, go ahead.
All right? A lot of us can't afford that. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, there are those of us who can. There's a time for everything.
Right.
If you don't have a trust, like you listening to this conversation right now, and you were going to the mall today to spend money, don't do it. Spend that money. It don't have to be with Attorney Fenton, with somebody who can write up a trust.
Yeah.
Because this is the mistake we make.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend money on that.
Yeah.
But I do want to spend money on how I look.
Yeah.
And then later, I don't look good, I don't feel good, and neither does my bank account because I didn't spend money on the right things.
Yeah. I mean, we'll spend $100 on a dinner. $100.
We'll spend $200.
$150 and not blink. The whole night you'll drop $200. And you'll do that like once a month for the next 6 months. You could have a trust.
Boom.
All right. To that point, though, I do provide payment plans. So, like, you don't have to pay it all at once. You can pay it over like 2-3 months. I break it down for people. Let me say this. Let's talk about community, because I think a large part of this conversation is about community. One of the things that I want to make certain of is like that everybody's good, because like we can't grow if like we can only be as strong as our weakest link.
Right.
And we have too many damn weak links. That's why I give out so much information. And to Linal's point, I don't care. I do care. Don't call me if you go to somebody else and ask for my advice. I had one lady, I'm doing a closing, Attorney Fenton. You set up this trust for me and we're having a problem. I'm like, huh? Like, huh?
Who's doing the closing? Right.
Who's doing your closing?
Yeah.
But my point is like, we all have to get our affairs in order. And here's the point I was about to make. Use people who care about you. Because let me tell you, Linal, the real value of the trust and why you're paying me. I tell people you can go online and set up an LLC. Go ahead. But is that LLC is online going to tell you all the stuff I just told you in the last 30 minutes? Did you know how the trust should be set up? Did you know which property should be in the trust and which property should be in the LLC? Did I tell you how to... See, you're not paying me to go online and do a trust or an LLC.
But this is what I'm getting at. I'll say, Attorney Fenton is going to charge me $1,000. I could just go to, Cyberdrive, Illinois. .org, and it's $150.
And nothing is done right. Your tax classification is not proper. You don't know about the annual report. You don't know how to sign a contract the proper way. They're just going to pierce your corporate veil. You don't know how to set up your investments in the LLC. You don't know when you should create another LLC. You didn't know that it should have been a series. You didn't know that you should have chosen an a subchapter S tax status.
But I want to be a millionaire.
Of course you do.
This business is going to be a multi-million-dollar business.
Of course you do. But let me tell you this one, Linal. This is where I was going. You know where my value comes in at, Linal, and what I feel good about, why I do what I do. It's not when I set you up. It's not. It helps. I feel good when I set you up. I feel good that I set you up. But I really feel good when mama dies and her son calls me and says, you set my mother's trust up. She spoke very highly of you, Attorney Fenton. What do I do now? That's when I make my money, Linal. When your mother calls me, when your son calls me, when your daughter calls me, and they can find me, and I'm not trying to gouge them and make them pay me another $1,000, and I'm saying, look, you know what? Come into my office and sit down, and we're going to talk about it. I don't charge them a dime.
It's been handled.
It's been handled.
It's been handled.
And I break it down what they need to do next. That's the value. That's why you got to do business with people who care about you.
That's your why.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm very thoughtful. You guys know this already. I'm very thoughtful about who I have on these shows. You know, I know people probably like, why he always talking to Attorney Fenton? There's other attorneys in Chicago.
Please.
I don't know them like I know Attorney Fenton.
Please. They ain't me. No, they ain't me. I'm saying that. Forget that, Linal. I ain't met them. They ain't me.
Right. And that's how I am. I don't know them. I don't know their character, and I don't know their values. But I do know yours. All right. We got one more phone call. Sonia, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. I just want to say you guys are on 10 this morning. I think you've had all the coffee and everything that you need, but it's good stuff. There's so much information. I have about 10 questions, but I'm going to email Ernest Fenton the other 8. And so I'll just put out 2 today. Okay, so here's my question. So my dad passed away in January, and about 2 years before he became very ill, and we had to put him in a nursing home. So he had about $100,000 in the bank at the time. But the nursing home, a good nursing home, costs $8,000 or more a month. Wow. So his money would have been gone within less than a year. So with that being said, we had to turn to the state for assistance. With the state, you know, they don't help you with anything. Like, you have to have $0 in order to get assistance from the state. So we had to basically get rid of the money. So in order for us to get rid of the money, if you have a disabled child, then they can get the money. So basically, we wind up giving the money to my disabled sister and put it in a trust for her or whatever. And so my question is, even if my dad would have just had $500,000 in the bank, going to a nursing home, with it being so expensive, he still would have ran out of the money if he would have lived a longer life, right? Yes. So my question is, how can I personally not find myself in that situation?
You laid out all the issues right there, and you were unfortunately fortunate that your sister was disabled and that you had a place that was an exemption that you could utilize. So if everyone's clear, the point number one is what I started off the show with. Like, the nursing home is going to get a lot of people's money. They're building all of these nursing homes for a reason.
They already know.
Because a lot of people are going to end up in a nursing home, and you cannot be liquid and obtain assistance from the state. You need to be broke, essentially. Right. You need to be insolvent. So, in Sonia's example, her father had $100,000. It's for a decent nursing home, it's at least $8,000 for a decent one. But I saw mine, Sonia. It's like $15,000.
Wow.
You follow what I'm saying? They got a swimming pool, a library.
So hold on. You already found your nursing home.
Yeah, there's one in Hyde Park, but I wouldn't be here. I'd be on an island. But if I were here, I saw one in Hyde Park. They got like a swimming pool, library, a pool table.
I just wanna see, because a lot of us, we think we're strategic.
Right. Yes.
Like, we think we're strategic. Attorney Fenton, you went and found, like, if you're in Chicago, you know where, hey, y'all put me here.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of us ain't thinking like that.
Yeah, $15,000. Right. A decent one is $8,000. So if you have any money in the bank like Sonia's father, and if there's no exemption, here's one exemption was like, if you have a disabled child who's dependent on you, then you can probably transfer. I don't know what the number is, but all or some, like Sonia did. But if that's not the case, you have to do what they call spend down. So for the first 12 times 8 is 96. Mm-hmm. So for the first 12 to 13 months, her father would not have received any assistance. They would have required that he spend his money.
Right.
Okay? So that's one. So Sonia's like, well, what do I do to protect myself? Well, there's a 5-year look back period on a spin down. So that's why it's important that you set this stuff up early. People are like, oh, I'm young, I have time. No, you don't. You could be in a nursing home at 50, number one. Okay. But the point is, especially if you're mature, if you're a senior, you know you have some health issues. If you see on the horizons potentially, you need to do it at least 5 years in advance.
Hold on, let me say this too. For a lot of these single men, and single women out here, y'all be listening to this, because who gonna take care of you? Because that boyfriend, if he ain't married to you, he might not show up.
And if you want your children to have the money, you follow what I'm saying? Like, why give it quote unquote to the government? Although people are listening, like, well, you should pay. Well, no, I don't know about that one. But anyhow, they look back 5 years. So Sonia, you need to set this stuff up at least 5 years in advance, because they'll look at bank statements, records, tax records 5 years back.
Wow.
Not 10 years back.
5 years.
You get my point?
Just to see.
So am I setting up a trust for myself 5 years prior? Is that what I'm doing?
At least, yes.
Okay.
As an example, and there are layers to this conversation. I'll just leave it there. Yes, is the answer.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so I'm gonna, just so you know, I'm definitely gonna be reaching out to you because I have business questions. For, like, you guys have got my brain going this morning, but it's a good thing, you know. So my next question is, okay, so the house is in my name, right? Mm-hmm. But we just refinanced. And so when we refinanced, I did put my husband's name on the deed.
No,
right?
don't do that one. That's what I don't like. Because what does your husband do for a living?
He's a revenue manager.
And hey, on that deed, does it say it's like as tenancy by the entirety, or tenants in common, or joint tenants, or anything?
I would have to go back and look. I don't know.
Let me just say this. I'd imagine it wouldn't occur. But there are different. First off, I never want to see any two names on a deed unless there's a strategic reason for that. Like, we need to pull some money out and both of us need to be on the deed. Then I do it. Okay? Even I would do it.
Okay.
But I don't like two people's name on the deed, because your husband, as an example, he's a truck driver. If he gets into an accident, he owns his own business. He gets into an accident for whatever reason, and there's a $100,000 judgment entered against him. Now it's going to become a lien on your house. So what you've done is just exposed your house to like double the liability. With you, it was just one. With now him, it's two. So I never like to see. And then if he has children, does he have children outside of your marriage?
No.
Okay. So as an example, right? So you could use a trust for that.
Okay.
All right. Alrighty.
Okay, so basically just refinance and just put it in my name only and just do a trust. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. If you're refinancing it only in your name, right? So let's take your husband off. You refinance by yourself.
Okay.
Then after that, we place it in a trust and make sure your husband is protected, both of you.
I see. Got it.
All right.
This is good information. I will be reaching out. Thank
Attorney Ernest Fenton.com. Peace.
Thank you.
All right. Good phone call. Good. Thanks, Sonia.
Y'all working me. Y'all working me. Y'all working me.
All right. So let's move to how do we keep our money? I mean, well, you shared with us a lot about keeping our money. Is there anything that we missed about keeping our money? In the law.
We can bring it home. Because we have to bring it home now.
We got to bring it home. I mean, we got 30 minutes.
You know why most of us are broke? And we will continue to be broke. Not why, most. I'm just saying an element of it. There are reasons. They're structural, institutional.
Before you go there, here's one thing I forgot that I want to mention, because Sonia talked about this. And I think a lot of us, and you and I, we had a brief conversation about this in a different way yesterday. But life insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Folks, life insurance is not just about when you die.
Yeah.
The beauty of life insurance is with the right type of policy, there's something called living benefits. So if I get sick and my wife, as I get older, she's older, and she's like, I love him to death. I'm just not strong enough to help him use the bathroom. I'm just not strong enough to put him in the bathtub.
Right.
Then she can call my life insurance and say, it's that time. I need to put him in a facility that's close to our home, the best one.
Right.
In a facility that's close to our home, so I can check on him. I can make sure he's good. And she doesn't have to come out of pocket, because of my living benefits, and my life insurance will take care of those expenses.
Yeah.
So it doesn't deter or doesn't begin to detract from the wealth I've built for her and the rest of my family.
And long-term care insurance, too.
Long-term care insurance. So I just want to say that because, I mean, this conversation, I mean, when she said that about her father, those are the type of things, because often we think about life insurance, and you and I were talking about this yesterday.
Right.
We think about life insurance in the terms of, well,
I'm gone.
When I'm gone, I don't want to make a lot of people rich.
Yeah.
It's not just that. It's when I'm still here and I may not be at my full capacity, I want to be comfortable.
Yeah. And the way you put it is like, and we also only think about life insurance from the standpoint of the policy is connected to us. Like, I'm gone and someone's getting money. But you also have to think about life insurance from the standpoint, Linal, in our conversation yesterday, life insurance for your children. Linal brought up a great point yesterday. I never thought about it this way. He was like, yeah, life insurance for my son. And I thought about it, and I'm like, well, if your child, and the lady asked me a question, should I have life insurance for my 18-year-old son? And here's the answer now, since Linal brought it up. Yes. Why? Because if your 18-year-old or 21 or 25-year-old son unexpectedly passes, are you going to be able to work for the next year or two? You want to make certain that you have life insurance for your child because you're going to need the money if you have a breakdown. And that made me say to myself, like, wow, I never thought about it like that.
And in the conversation, so I just had this epiphany a few days ago. And I'm just with Legend, and I'm like, as parents, we have these thoughts like, oh, man, I love this little boy so much. Like, if I lost him. And then it hit me, if you lost this boy, you're not going to be able to work.
Right.
You ain't going to be no good to nobody.
Right.
My clients, as much as I love my clients,
nothing
don't
will matter
call me
for a long while.
Don't call me, right? I need time. Then I thought about it like, so residually I have assets, but it doesn't add up quite yet. Right, to where I needed to be, where I could just float on those residual assets if something happened in my life, right? So my wife, she's set up where I wouldn't have to work,
right? But
my son isn't,
right?
And both of us would probably be incapacitated
for a good while.
A good while. So then I'm like, we need to up that. Right. And we haven't done it yet, but like I actually been meaning to text you. Because, by the way, my mom writes our insurance policies, and she can write yours. Just give my office a call, 312-899-6245. I'll pass it over. Either her or someone on her team will do it. But right away, I thought, we got to up the insurance.
Right.
Now, God forbid, and if what I believe he will have a long, prosperous life, the type of insurance I will purchase, there will be a cash balance that, one, will support him while he goes through college, and two, if he decides to not touch it by the time he is 60, will have accumulated into millions of dollars.
Right. Which segues into the conversation of how to build wealth.
Let's make it happen.
So that's a perfect segue.
Yes.
A lot of millionaires, a lot of very wealthy people, they built their wealth on investing in insurance. So this is just one example. So one, you can invest in an insurance policy as an example on a child that can be used later in the child's life as a source of capital. If they need it, you can pass that insurance policy, if you will, to your child, and then you can then your child's or your children's children could benefit from the policy one day, and that's how you can build a generational wealth. You can also purchase that insurance policy, Linal. Here's one other element. You can purchase that insurance policy in a trust. It's called an insurance trust. So you can make certain that that insurance policy is passed from you to Legend to Legend's child. And that's how you build wealth.
Nice. So now it's not just all of it moving to Legend.
Nah.
But the trust can read
all the way down to his child.
All the way down. And here's the beauty of it, because this is how, so talking about generational wealth, like what just clicked for me is compound interest is real. So now if there's a payout on a multi-million-dollar life insurance policy, Legend is only getting a percentage of that.
Correct.
The rest of that is just accumulated.
Yeah.
Which means the grandchildren are handled.
Correct. You can do it. You can
great-grandchildren are handled.
Yes. Every person listening to this broadcast, 90%, there are exceptions. But if you're an average person in America, you can almost assuredly make sure that your children and your children's children are rich or wealthy if you choose.
If you choose.
All you have to do forget you. I'm not saying forget it this way, but I'm just going to give you an example. Forget the real estate investment, forget the stocks, forget all of that. Well, you will be investing in stocks because a lot of the insurance products are tied to the stock market. All you have to do is invest in an insurance policy. So if that $1 million policy costs you $300 a month, just say I'm going to pay $300 a month for the next 20 years. And then I'm going to pass it to my child in a trust. Your child will not be able to cash it in, even if it has cash value, unless it's an emergency. The trust will have protectors or trustees who make certain that your child does not squander that investment in the insurance policy. Upon your child's passing, the payout from those insurance proceeds will be split up amongst you get my point, his children and so on.
Now let me say this.
Yes.
Let me say this. For those of you who are listening, who are in your 30s, this is why buying a luxury vehicle right now is not the best choice. Just listen to me. I know you want to ride nice.
What?
Here's the difference. My wife and I, when my son was born, we decided to up our policies. We already had insurance policies. We said we need policies over $1 million now, because we want to make sure if something happens to both of us,
Very well taken care of.
He's very well taken care of. He does not become a liability to whomever he has to go live with and be with. If it's my mother, if it's her parents, if it's his auntie, if it's his uncle, right? We wanted to make sure,
like Michael Jackson's children,
they're fine.
Like Blanky,
right? Right. So we wanted to make sure that was handled, right? Mm-hmm. And if one of us were to decease, we wanted to make sure the other one didn't have to work. Now, here's the difference. My policy is more than double. Let me say it again.
Wow.
The premiums on my policy, because I bought it at 40 years old, over $1 million, is more than double that of my wife's.
Right.
Her policy, because she is 8 years younger than me, is much cheaper. Mm-hmm. Much cheaper.
So get it while you're young.
Much cheaper. Yeah. It's a car note.
Yeah, get it while you're young.
It's a car note.
Yeah.
You don't even want to know how much I pay.
Yeah, yeah. And but that's an investment. So I'm calling your bluff. That's why I said if you really want to make, because people act under the guise of I'm doing this for my children, and I'm like, stop lying. You're not doing this for your children. Stop telling that lie that you're trying to build wealth for your children. Because if you really wanted to make sure that your children had some money if something happened to you, you wouldn't be out here in these risky investments. You wouldn't be out here trying to build businesses without having a foundation. You'd have an insurance policy, because that's how we can guarantee. An insurance policy is a guarantee that they're going to get the money. Your business is not a guarantee. Even you follow what I'm saying.
Most businesses fall apart.
They fall apart. So if you're really serious about that, if you really want to make certain, get an insurance policy.
And then here's the other thing.
Along with that other stuff.
That policy has living benefits.
Yes.
So if something happens to me, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How else do we make money? Attorney Fenton. That's just one way. Again, 312-899-6245 to call my office to learn more about how to get this type of insurance. Someone on my mom's team will support you write the policy. She'll have oversight. You can trust her if you trust me.
Yeah. I think how you create, me personally and everyone that I know who has money, it's done over time. Mm-hmm. And it's done like strategically.
Patience. Yeah.
You have to have patience.
Gotta have patience.
People are trying to run out and get rich overnight, and it just kills me. I'm just like, it's not going to work. There's a reason why athletes and other people, lottery winners, go broke. It's because I told you at the beginning, I didn't tell you anything. I shared with you at the beginning, it's like, it's much easier, relatively speaking, to get money than it is to keep money. So like if you go out and you get rich overnight, chances are you're going to lose it because you don't understand the principles of money. You don't understand the sacrifice of accumulation. You know what I'm saying? So like, how do you get rich, if you will? How do you get money? Be patient, study. I was reading up on Rockefeller. Thanks, Ann Hawkins. I saw a quote that Ann placed on Facebook, and it just intrigued me so much. Ann, what's that quote? And I went down a rabbit hole reading up on Rockefeller, and then I said, you know what?
Beast.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you all this. I said, I don't know enough. Let me tell you. I read a couple of excerpts on Rockefeller, thanks to Ann, and I said, Linal, I felt guilty because I said, I'm not student enough of the game. For me not to know everything about Rockefeller off the top of my head is an atrocity if you're really talking about making money. You got to study people like Rockefeller. You got to study the J. Paul Gettys of the world. You got to study the Pritzkers. So one, you have to be a student of the game.
J.P. Morgan.
Yeah, J.P. Morgan. I didn't know all that about the oil industry and how they Standard Oil started all of this, and they broke up and they had the first business trust. Rockefeller set up the first business trust
A beast.
in the 1800s.
A beast. And that's why we know the Rockefeller name.
Yeah,
now.
Jay-Z. Rockefeller, y'all. We're looking at Jay-Z and we're not thinking about the Rockefeller. Think about that one.
That's where you got it from.
I understand. Rockefeller, y'all.
Yep.
We're talking about look at Jay-Z and he's talking about Rockefeller.
I'm going to put that right at the beginning of this segment on YouTube.
Are you following?
Yeah.
You watching the wrong man. The man you should be watching is not Jay-Z.
It's the one he's talking about.
The one he's talking about.
Hey, look, Robert Greene in chapter 16 of The Laws of Human Nature breaks down how Rockefeller thought.
Brilliant. His quotes were, oh my God.
Let me
It
tell you
blew my head.
this is quick story. So he's in business with this guy named Clark.
Yes.
And
his partner.
And Clark is his partner, but Clark is basically running the business. Clark owns the business, right?
Yeah.
He's just like a low share partner. Clark comes to him one day and says, I don't think this is working, to try to muscle him. The next day, Rockefeller publishes an article in a paper that the business has been dissolved and they're no longer partners. And that's how Clark found out. That's how, because he already was like 10 steps ahead of Clark. He was waiting for that moment. He was waiting for that moment. Oh, okay. You want to muscle me? Watch this. He dissolved the business. We're no longer partners. And then started his own business and left Clark in the dust.
Wow.
Y'all don't even know who Clark is, but you know who Rockefeller is.
Right.
Because he was strategic.
Right. One of his quotes was, he said, Rockefeller's quotes I read last night, paraphrasing. He said, the best time to make money or to get rich? He said, when there's blood in the streets.
Yep. Warren Buffett uses that one all the time.
Check what's in the streets right now, people. The best time, Rockefeller, the best time to make money or to get rich? When there's blood in the streets.
But you know what? There ain't really no blood in the street right now.
Well, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's enough.
It's a little blood in the street.
Yeah.
A little blood, but that's from the pandemic.
Yeah.
But it's going to be more blood real soon. Well, you just wrote about it on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
The man.
So over time, you have to have patience. You must be a student of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have some principles. You have to have some rules that you live by. You have to have discipline.
And it's got to be bigger. See, let me say this.
Oh, that he had another quote. Go ahead.
We live in a consumeristic society, you all. We're looking at what other people have. You got to play your game.
Right. Yeah.
Most of us don't even know what game we're playing. And so we're playing everybody else's game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to play Attorney Fenton's game.
Yeah.
With McDonald's money.
Yeah. Can't play my game. You can't play my game. You know what I'm saying?
They can't watch you and
they don't even know what I'm playing.
Look what Ernest just bought Marissa. Are you playing the Ernest game?
And hold on. Let me switch that. Are you playing Marissa's game? Let's blend relationships and money.
There you go.
In order to, as an example, not that everyone is, I'm only using it as an example. If you looking at someone, or Marissa, my wife, Marissa, hello. Like, if you look, in order for you to be in that position, you got to play the game that she's playing.
They don't get that.
Yeah.
They say, because I know you all, I get it.
Yeah.
But they don't get that.
Yeah, there's a responsibility to that game. You can't you playing with a guy like me. That's a burden. It's a blessing. It's a big blessing. But with that big blessing comes a big burden.
So let's spin real quick. Real quick. Because I had this conversation in one of my group coaching sessions with one of my clients who is in a relationship project. And I asked her, what kind of man do you want? You want an alpha?
Kevin Samuels. Let's
a
go.
beta,
I'm ready.
Or a sigma?
Yeah.
They like, what's a Sigma man?
What's
right? But do you really want to? Do you really want an alpha man?
No, they don't want an alpha man.
No, hold on. If we did a poll right now,
no, women don't want an alpha man. If we did a poll right now
on Facebook, they would say, I want an alpha man.
No, they don't. They want a beta man with alpha ability.
That don't exist.
No, but that's what they want. The
beta man is a beta man.
No. They want a beta man who they can put on his pants if necessary. When it's convenient for them, they want to wear his pants. But outside of that, when it's not convenient, they want him to be the alpha. They want him to bring in the big piece of chicken. They want him to kill a cow, to kill a lion, bring a bear, be handsome.
I heard noise outside. Go see what it is.
Go see what happened. And then they want to walk in and then be the boss. Huh?
It don't work like that.
Don't work that way.
An alpha man is an alpha man.
Yeah.
A beta man,
and that's part. That's a whole nother conversation. I hope Donna's still listening.
Let's. That might be another show.
Yeah, it is another show.
That might be another show. Anyway, I'm saying that because we're not strategic enough.
Yeah.
And we don't know what we want. We don't know what we want in a spouse. We don't know what we want financially. We don't know what we want.
Can I say this? If you want an alpha man, get ready for alpha problems.
Yeah.
Because his aggression is going to be different than a beta man. He don't talk like a beta man. When I speak with authority. Why are you talking to me like that? I don't like the way he speaks to me because he's an alpha. That's how alphas speak.
And alpha, you only can talk to an alpha man certain ways.
Are you following?
Otherwise, he'll get triggered.
Correct. You get my point? So you want all the benefits out of an alpha man. You want him to have that money. You want him to be the man in the room. You want people to turn their heads when he walk in. But you don't want any of the responsibility. He's supposed to turn it all the way off when he walk in the house. Now, he's supposed to manage it, but he can't turn it all the way off. So if you got an alpha man, get ready to have some alpha problems.
It's called compromise.
You follow what I'm saying?
It's called compromise.
Yes.
But we want it all. And see, it's the same thing, right? Oh, I want to make sure that my life is handled in my elderly years, but I also want to drive the luxury vehicle right now. Compromise.
Yeah.
Like this is a life lesson, not just a money lesson.
Correct. So we use the relationship as a context for compromise. So I just want to be clear. I don't want you to get sidetracked here.
Right.
And I can use that. We can use that same sort of metaphor, if you will. We'll use it as a metaphor to say this more specific, which is like you have to be willing. Like Linal just said, you have to be willing to compromise. Let me tell you this, people. Let me give you a real world example. You know how you get money, Linal, in my small way, the small way that I get money? Mm-hmm. Because last night, like I went to my office last night and I worked on my book. And I read up on Rockefeller on a Saturday night.
Well, and that's what interests you. I'm sure that
are you following what I'm trying to tell you?
I'm following.
And then when I leave, then I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning and I came here and I'm having this conversation. And then when I leave here, at some point, I'm going back to my office to work on my book again. And that's how you get money. You get money because you get at it. I get at mine. And I'm not just going to get at mine on a Monday morning. I get at mine on Friday night. I get at mine at Saturday night. I get at mine on Sunday morning. I'm always getting at mine.
There you go.
And that's how you do it.
I love it. This is because I think sometimes we think that this is a turn off, turn on situation. And you can't build that way. You can't build that way.
Yeah. And you got to know how to take a punch. See, Dottie, I like what you said. She said a lot of these guys, they talk like an alpha, but they really beta. You're absolutely correct, Dottie. That's another conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation.
But you also treat them like you are. That's a whole nother conversation, but you're correct. Here's the other part of it. It's like emotional intelligence. I did a post on this not too long ago, and I was like, I think business and success might be 20% what you do, like what you sell, and it's like 80% like emotional. Like how well do you navigate your way through a problem? Like, that's where my success hinges on. Like, I have the book knowledge, I have the intellect, but let me tell you when I took off. Linal, I took off when I got a upsetting phone call and I didn't get upset, and I don't let it fester. Like, you can, people will hear me and they say, Attorney Fenton upset. I'm like, you all have no idea. I'll look like I'm on 10, and literally the next minute, I have forgot what happened.
Emotional intelligence.
This is what I tell you. It's important to have a long memory, but let me tell you what's as important or more important than having a long memory. A short memory. I have a short memory when I need it. And so those are all the key components, that emotional intelligence, understanding how to navigate through problems, falling down, getting back up, not seeing doom and gloom.
You know what? My wife and I were having this conversation riding home yesterday. And what I was telling her, I was like, I think one of the biggest problems people have in marriage is they don't know what to concentrate on. And I told her, you and I would not be married if I concentrated on everything that I felt you did wrong.
Right.
My concentration is on the reasons I'm with you.
Yeah, that's good.
Those are the things that I think about.
Yeah, that's
right.
Good.
Those are the things that I meditate on. These are the reasons I love my wife.
Yeah.
My short-term memory is on the things that I didn't like that.
Yeah.
That upset me.
Yeah.
Why did she do that? That's short term. Yeah. I'm not thinking about that all the time.
Yeah.
What I think about most when I think about my wife are all the reasons I love her.
Yeah.
So then when it comes to the relationship, my ability to be in relationship with my wife and be with my wife and us build, I have that capacity. But that's emotional intelligence.
Can I tell you why a woman deserves half or close to half? I say close to half for some of the brothers in the back. For the brothers in the back. Let me tell you why a woman deserves half. If you will. If you even have half. Maybe her half is bigger than your half.
Probably.
But that's another conversation.
According to the numbers, it is.
Yeah, her half's bigger than your half.
Let's be real. Yeah.
So, but that's another conversation.
Yeah.
But let me tell you how she earns her keep. Even when she's not the one, hammering. Because of what Linal just said. Linal, what you just said is what I have learned in my marriage. See, brothers, I want you to change the way you think. This is why I put the pressure on brothers. Mm-hmm. Because I'm telling you, like, marriage is a microcosm of life. Man. And if you can learn to navigate your way through a marriage, one, can you build partnership? How you expect to come and do business with Ernest Fenton and you can't do business with a woman who's cooking for you and laying down with you? How can I trust you? That's why married men do better in partnerships than in business. That's why major corporations ask you, are you married? And they want to meet your wife. That's number one. Here's the other part. Linal said, okay, it's compromise and learning to focus on the right thing. Linal, that's me. I'm horrible. That's one of my weaknesses. One of my weaknesses is like, you just said what? Back in the day. I want to hit you in your mouth. Not a woman. I'm saying that's my conflict resolution.
Right.
My conflict resolution is like, what you just say? Forget all the law school. Forget all that. Let's get at it. Mm-hmm. But I had to learn in my marriage to compromise. I had to learn in my marriage to not like something and still go forward. And guess where that showed up? In my business.
Yep.
And that's how you get rich. You get rich. Yeah, so marriage is an opportunity for you to build yourself as a man, which then in turns creates success in your business. That's why she deserves half.
Man. And so I'm somebody's probably like, what does this have to do with making money?
Everything.
You won't say you're going to end the show with how to get rich.
That is exactly how you get rich.
Let me tell you something. If you can't control what's in between your ears right here and use that to master your emotions, you will never be wealthy.
Let me drop another one. Monogamy.
Let's talk about it.
Discipline, Linal. So all the things that it takes to create a successful marriage are all the things that are going to create you to be a successful business person. Discipline. You can't have everything you see now, brother.
Oh, can I put one in?
Go ahead.
Focus. You can't focus on everything you see and grow your money tree.
Yes.
Right? You can't focus on every woman and make your wife happy.
Yes.
What else you got? But those two are good. That's probably enough.
Stay out the streets. See, if I were single, I would have been in the street last night. Ain't no way I would have been reading.
No book would be written.
Are you following what I'm trying to say?
No book would be written.
I would have, instead of me making jokes on Facebook, which I was serious about, I would have been texting or sending DMs.
If you were secretly unfaithful.
I couldn't put all that out there.
If you were secretly unfaithful, you wouldn't have been in the office last
Oh,
year.
yeah, I would have had my opportunity.
You would have had your opportunity, which means no work will be getting done, and there would be nothing but that to focus on.
Correct.
That's why y'all not rich.
Yeah, because you have too many distractions and you don't have any discipline and you don't have any structure. And we're not, like, we're married sometimes, but we're not in partnership. Or we got boyfriends and girlfriends, we say it don't matter when it matters everything. Let me say it again for people in the back. Dottie Stacks. Who you go out with, and for these ladies online, there was only a few who said, oh, a coffee date is acceptable. Yeah, it's acceptable. It's not a question of, is it acceptable to you? The question is it acceptable for him to do it? Is that his baseline?
But here's the thing. Why would you want something? I don't understand why a woman would want something more if she values her time. And then you complain about a poor dinner, a horrible dinner. Well, you had to sit there for the whole dinner because you gave away that much time.
Correct.
Go to coffee. See if he's even worth the dinner. That's me. We focus on the wrong things.
Yeah.
We focus on the wrong things. We got a lot of calls. Sorry, y'all. Y'all let us. Y'all got to call sooner. Y'all let us.
I said I was going to act up today.
How do you want to close? What
I'd like to close here because a young lady said she's 50. She hated that she waited so late to start focusing on her finances. And I say I think it doesn't matter because I think you can turn your life around in 7 years.
Agreed.
It only takes really you can see a tremendous difference. Like you can look like a completely different person in 3 years. Mm-hmm. And in 7 years, you can completely turn your circumstance around. You could be literally broke with renting an apartment, renting a room, and in 7 years from now, you will be financially stable, 6 figures in the bank, a property owner. 7 years is all it takes. So I don't care if you're 50. It's not too late. And here's the other part. It's just a game. It's like have fun. Have fun.
There you go.
Understand, like, this is all really, and money is just, Rockefeller said it too, it's just a way to keep count. Money means nothing. It's just a way to keep count. It's just a number. Don't get so consumed about how much money you need to make and go out and play the game. And if you play the game well, the money will come. And that's it.
One more time, how can people find you?
Attorney Ernest Fenton.com.
Attorney Fenton, I appreciate you, brother. And whether people like it or not, whether they like what you had to say or not, whether they agree with what you had to say or not, they appreciate you too.
Very good. I'll take that.
Great show. Well, you had it. You've heard it. How to create your financial roadmap. Again, you can find this show and other shows, Exploring Poverty and Wealth. How to create your, I forgot how we put it, financial plan with Lauren Williams, and then how to create your financial roadmap with Attorney Ernest Fenton. My name is Linal Harris, your host and life coach right here on Inspirational Perspective every Sunday from 7 a.m. to 9. Thank you all for listening. Stay tuned. And ultimately have a fantastic Sunday. And God bless.
Peace out.
Each and every one of you.
Good stuff.
All right, y'all. Good show. Y'all know what to do. Share the stream. People need to hear this one. Probably more than once. Until next Sunday. Love you guys. Catch you then.